heroes. And we do see that Wyvern being removed from Na'Vi straight off the bat. And I can't blame him, because Aster, they have been playing a hell of a lot of Wyvern and have been showing a lot of success with it.
Yeah, I mean, the healing meta is back for most supports. We're seeing Chen come back in, Winter Wyvern being big, even the Dazzle, again, sneaking back into a lot of games yesterday. So I wouldn't be surprised if those were priority picks and bans. And speaking of, the Dazzle is taken out by Na'Vi as well. This does leave a few options. Chen is still in the pool for either Aster or Na'Vi to take, and I think that's a bigger Na'Vi hero than it is an Aster hero. So that could still be the comfort pick for solo. Remember, Na'Vi did manage to win up against Beast Coast yesterday with that solo Chen, and he didn't even really participate in those fights. I think you and I were having a bit of a giggle there, Mike, where Solo was literally soloing the jungle, and if he'd see his teammate low, he's like, all right, Hand of God, and you're good. I'll keep farming the jungle and get my items up.
Well, let's be honest, Sean, I wasn't laughing about anything yesterday. It was a very rough day for me, but it certainly was a very interesting kind of Chen performance there from Solo, literally doing nothing most of the game and still pulling off the victory, which I dare say, John, is pretty much how every Chen player wins in this current meta. Just do nothing, hope for the best. It kind of worked out yesterday. Still, drafts has begun. Tiny Warlock, the opening here from Team Aster. Natus Vincere, they do end up going for that Razor we talked about. They'll go right into the Clockwork as well, which we did see a lot of teams also removing quite a bit. Again, John, very lane dominant kind of hero. Against heroes like the Warlock Tiny, you tend to have a very good time.
Yeah, it's like really, I Clockwork, as you said, very lane dominant. You have a great combination with a Razor, not just, running down something like
Team Aster's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
get the blink up, you're really aggressive. Still plays really nice with a Warlock combination here, Mike. You love to point out with Fatal Bonds, right? Like Avalanche Toss is going to be great on a clumped up set of heroes. Even on, say, the Creep Wave, if you catch someone out in gank, it's still going to feel really good for the Warlock Tiny. So, you're getting the best of both worlds for Aster. You've got some sustain coming out from the Warlock in that meta. And I love what Aster's done in the bans here as well, Mike. Just straight into Chen, straight into the IO, removing any options for Na'Vi to get Druidable themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe our voices did cut off there for a second, Jonathan, but good news, you are back, and the viewers obviously missed you quite a lot, Jonathan, so there you go. Final ban-outs to come here before we do continue on with these drafts. See what these teams just want to remove here, because Na'Vi, Batrider, Enigma being removed, both heroes that Aster do enjoy running quite a bit once again. I must add, by the way, Jonathan, I do really enjoy myself a good Tiny Warlock combination. It's just so much damage. Like, Fatal Bonds into an Avalanche Toss combination, especially if you can connect on multiple heroes, the amount of damage you deal, it just gets kind of ridiculous. Again, while Na'Vi, they do already have these heroes that do very well against the Tiny Warlock, once you get past the laning stage and go into these team fights, it's just so devastating.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of damage coming out, especially if Aster draft around a lot of AoE damage, say, for their offlane, maybe for their mid coming out, something like, say, Puck, Lina, Ember can kind of play nicely enough with the chains coming through from Warlock. So it could tie in fairly well to just get that burst damage off. I think my one issue every time you see the Warlock is it does put a lot more pressure on your pause 4 to kind of make plays. And that's going to be on Babuka on the Tiny, assuming it is his Tiny. It does mean you're relying more on the Tiny to set up plays. Your Warlock's really not going to do much in terms of initiating for your team. Golem is one tool, but it's a very long cooldown. So for that tempo, Tiny's blink time is going to be key. And if Na'Vi still play to their strengths, get that strong lane they're looking for with the Clockwork Razor and whatever else they might have in plan for the off lane, we have seen that Tiny blink kind of delayed out, and that can make things a little bit tougher. Aster will go for the Puck we mentioned, so tying into that team fight potential, tying in with the damage you can do with Fatal Bonds here quite nicely. You've got the toss on Dream Coil here as well, Mike, so you've got an instant break to get some control there.
I don't mind the counter pick though. They'll go into the Void Spirit, which generally does quite well against the puck, and you've also got the Skywrath Mage, which is a really nice counter against the puck as well. Again, that Ancient Seal, that targeted silence you have against the puck just makes life so hard for the hero in general, and is probably going to force you to go for something like a Lincoln's or Lotus Orbs here for Team Aster to try and purge that off. So Na'Vi kind of going straight for the counters here against the mid puck of Aster, and I think that's fair enough. You do have to be somewhat careful, I think, though, if you are Na'Vi, right? And we always talk about this, John, but you don't necessarily want to focus on countering the other team, but more so picking what you feel comfortable with your own draft. And so you do get kind of concerned here for Na'Vi if they are really just focusing on what Aster's picking and trying to counter every single hero, because you can kind of just forget about what your draft is actually doing in general. And right now, when you look at Na'Vi's draft, I mean, it's still fine. Very single target, though. Not much AoE control, not much. The team fight's kind of lacking right now, I feel.
It definitely is, Mike. Like, your big AoE control is basically what? A hook shot onto two clumped up heroes with a cogs on top? And that's probably your best bet for holding heroes down. Maybe when you get the Void Spirit up with the Ags, AoE sounds going to be nice. But look at the response from Aster. Straight into the faces Void. It's not a hero that Na'Vi can particularly deal with well. And this forces them to make a choice now with their Sky. Do you want to silence up the puck, or do you want to silence up the Void? Because if you don't silence the Void, you can just time walk away from the Razor, time walk away from the Clockwork. The Void Spirit's going to have some time to maybe play with a Remnant, but Faceless Void will just time walk off damage. He is going to be really hard to kill off, along with a Warlock. With that healing, we've seen that just be a huge factor in keeping these tankier paws once alive. It's not going to be too tough for the Void, and even then, down the line, you can just buy BKB and all your issues are fixed.
Absolutely. I mean, it is a very good point. Like, at first, when I saw the Void picked up, I thought, wait a minute, into Skywrath Mage, it's a little bit risky, but like you mentioned, John, it kind of forces you to really decide who that silence is being focused on here by this Skywrath, and it can make life rather difficult, and it just adds to more team fight here for Team Aster. Like, apart from the Skywrath Mage, you don't really have a great counter to this Void. You really just don't. You don't have the lockdown. Like, maybe you can hook shot with a Cogs pushback or a nice Aether Remnant, but chances are the Void's just going to be able to time walk all the damage off throughout these fights. And like you said, unless the Ancient Seal's there, you're not going to be able to kill this man. Mind you, eventually this Void's just going to pick up a BKB anyway. So chances are he's not really going to end up giving a crap eventually, and it could be problematic. But I think we've just got to wait to see how these drafts finish off. See what they go for. I mean, it seems like Na'Vi, they probably are going to end up running the POS 1 Razor here. That they are still able to flex it up and maybe throw it as a POS 3 Razor. You do have POS 1s like the Lycan still in the pool as well, which has been very, very competitive in terms of being picked and banned recently. So I think Na'Vi, if they really want to, they could go down the Lycan route and just try to outpace Team Aster, assuming it doesn't get banned out.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer Na'Vi to take the Lycan on the off lane here for Lace. We've seen it more on the off lane role to kind of get into that Ag spread, Overlord Ags buildup. And that's where it really shines. You're still going to hit your Overlord timing from the off lane anyway. The one issue I have for Na'Vi going for that Zoom 8, it does play into the aggression, but you are also going all in on literally single target control. Like, you have nothing to fight against Chrono outside of maybe a good hook shot to just pierce through the BKB and get a little bit of a stun in that Chronosphere. Your hold for Puck and Void are kind of split on who you use the Ancient Seal on. And, like, if you go for the Void first, it feels like Puck is going to be a bigger threat in the early game. And, it's just going to be mobile, jumping around, poking your softer supports, jumping the Sky straight off the bat so you don't get a second use of Ancient Seal. The issue for Aster I'm seeing here, on the other hand, is that you don't have the best ways of playing with the Void. Like, Chronosphere, you don't have the follow-through besides Puck. Right? Like, you do have this nice combination that I love to rant about. Chrono plus Upheaval is pretty funny because you can't run away, but you have a Void Spirit who's going to be able to dissimulate and the Astral step out anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Razor might be annoyed, but beyond that, it's not going to be a massive issue. I think Aster needs something to feed damage into the Chrono outside of the Puck. You could say Tiny with Ags, but I don't expect Baboka to actually pick up a very fast Ags here on the POS 4, Mike.
Absolutely not, John. I do need you to keep talking, Jonathan. I don't mean to break the fourth wall, but my microphone stand seems to have fallen over, so I need a minute, if you don't mind. Just
no problem.
Just casting things, ladies and gentlemen. Just give me a moment.
The DK does come out for Na'Vi, so that should be more than likely our off lane here for Lace. Running that safe lane Razor, there is an option here to flex, tossing the Razor safe lane instead tossing the Razor off lane instead for Lace, and the safe lane Vitrine DK. I believe we've seen Vitrine play that at least once in the DPC. It does give them more hold. Blink timing's gonna be great now. You've got two great spells to hold down the puck and the void, but Aster go into the Visage. So a bit left field. We've seen a lot of that Visage pop out since Stockholm, but not so much in the first day here of Arlington. We do see Aster finally pick it up, and it is going to be XXS playing that Visage here. So offlane Visage, mid puck, safely in void. That is some damage in the chrono. It's not that burst damage you're looking for here, Mike, right? But it is damage still. And if you go for the Ags buildup on XXS, if you get his talent timings just right, those familiars can contribute a lot. Along with, say, Fatal Bonds and the Soul Assumption in play, it's a decent amount of damage over time that if Aster plays around her chrono well enough, it should be able to get a lot done in this game. Mind you, you could argue this is slightly greedier. Your most sacrificial hero is the Warlock. As a Visage, you do not want to fall behind in items. Faceless Void's going to be farming up, or he's going to be looking for, as you mentioned, maybe an early Lincoln's, probably not. Maybe an early Yule's could be really good here, just to help out along with the Blink. And Boboka's also going to be looking for his Blink as well in the Tiny. So Aster's draft, while it does make sense when you tie it all together, it's going to take time to hit those item timings. Whereas for Na'Vi, with a Razor, with a DK, with a Void Spirit, Sky, and Clock, they really just need level 6. Once you have level 6 on your supports, you just group up, find a pick-off, go for a tower push with your DK, and rinse and repeat. And I think if Na'Vi closes down the map early, Aster might have a hard time enabling a Void, a Visage, and a Tiny support with a Puck to hit those initial items they need to be online here.
Well, thank you for that, Jonathan. I appreciate you buying me all that time. I gotta say, I don't know how the hell that happened. The microphone was literally standing still and just suddenly tilted over. So there you go. Still, I do appreciate the drafts coming out from both sides, John. I do still err the way of Team Aster here with their own draft. I just think they have so much control, so much damage, and they just cover all the bases. John, I'll ask you the hard question before we do get this game one underway, though. Who is your preferred draft here between these two teams?
I feel like Aster is going to be able to hold out against the aggression Navi's bringing out, but I don't think it's like a complete outdraft from either side. I think it's really even. They just have they have different objectives in mind. Aster is going to be looking to scale into the late game with the Void, with the Puck, and even with a Visage, it scales really nicely into the mid game. Whereas Na'Vi, again, they just need level 6s. You've got the DK Skyrat combo, Ancient Seal, Dragon Tail stun, everyone melts, and that's all you're going to be looking for here on Na'Vi. Just level 6 in your supports, one Blink Dagger on Lace, and then you just keep going.
Reminder to the mods in Twitch chat, by the way, please ban anyone spamming IAR. We don't want any of that crap in our... Please ban anyone saying that crap. Thank you for giving an example, Jonathan. Or he might be in a bit of danger here if he's not too careful, but he'll get a ward down, and that'll give him the vision to, on the smoke break of Na'Vi. Nice D-ward, though, by Na'Vi. Recognizing they were spotted, they'll get rid of it immediately, and that'll leave Ori without a ward here on the puck in the mid lane. Still, there could be a level 1 team fight still to break out here from Na'Vi. They certainly look like they want to try and force something, but with the information Aster now has, they certainly aren't going to allow it, I'm sure.
Yeah, can be just stepping back. Aster are in position to at least try to intercept. Level 1 does feel a bit stronger for Na'Vi. It's a bit more threatening, especially since XXS is in the opposite side of the map. So he's not going to be able to play with some early Soul Assumption if you do trade a little bit more back and forth. We'll see if anyone overcommits. The clump up down bot is a little bit bigger here.
See what happens.
The battle begins.
No fight to break out. Na'Vi, they actually back their way out. They'll just secure a couple bounties, and so will the side of Aster. So a very even start, 2 for 2 here between these two teams. We may as well start with this mid lane. Who is actually going mid? Should be Ori on that puck, and he'll go for the old body block. And of course, he'll be against no one on the Void Spiriters. I wonder, I kind of talked about this already, and it does feel like the Void Spirit will have somewhat of an advantage, but it still should be a relatively even matchup between these two.
And it's fairly even. Void Spirit's play here, as we've seen multiple times, is harassing out with a Remnant, using the Resonant Pulse to push out the wave. Ori's always got the Orb to fall back to, and the Waning Rift to kind of dance around, get a good silence out. Range advantage is great for the puck early on. Right clicks do feel good until that physical shield of the Pulse is up, but it's not too much to hold him back, and should be relatively even in farm. I think Rune Control's the big one that defines this lane. Whoever gets their bottle topped up more frequently is going to have a better time. And when it comes down to support rotations, it's pretty even. I would give an edge to Na'Vi just because Sky and Clockwork are very effective rotators in comparison to just the Tiny alone. You're not going to expect Picho to really rotate in as a Warlock here.
Look at the top lane as well here, John. V-Tune and Solo going to be against Baboka and XXS. Now, this is a very kind of kill-orientated lane, I feel. Especially for Aster. Like, you land that Avalanche toss into a couple of soul assumptions, and that's going to be very easy kills to come out, and you can already see Solo kind of copping it here on the Clockwork. It's a bit annoying for him on that clock as well, because you want to be lane dominant, you want to be aggressive on a +5 clock, but he certainly has to watch himself.
Yeah, you've got to hold back. You kind of need to work together with your Razor, wait for your level 2. Once you do have the cogs up, that's when you can maybe go for a play. Even if you get tossed back, V-Tune's still going to have an angle to hold back with a static blink and get a lot of damage off. But it is punishable, as you mentioned, by XXS. And
Here we go. It's the thing, you go for a battery assault, but you get tossed back, so nothing really happens. Well, we have a chance. We'll have a look at this bot lane as well. Sweet and strong, really chasing down our Warlock and almost securing the kill, but not quite enough. Of course, Monet is also going to be there on that +1 Void, and you're going to have Lace on that +3 DK. He's finding himself quite low on the Dragon Knight himself, but naturally with that Dragon's Blood, he'll be just fine to stick around and keep that regen going. John, the bot lane should be arguably the most boring lane. As top lane, a bit more aggression to come out here onto V-Tune, but here comes Solo. They might be able to try and secure a kill, but they don't have the mana for cogs. So Solo, he does kind of force them back from V-Tune, but ultimately without the mana to cogs them up, V-Tune cannot turn around with the static link to secure a kill. You probably would have been able to secure a kill on Baboka had you caught him, but not quite this time.
yeah, you're kind of missing out on what you want to get with your Clockwork Razor. You really do want to run down with Static Link. As you mentioned, this is aggression that Na'Vi will want to play with. Down bot, they are still kind of trading back and forth, but as you mentioned, I mean, it's a Faces Void up against DK with a Warlock. Like, you are not going to die here as Monet unless you severely misstep, and it's likely not going to happen. For Na'Vi's end, they're probably going to have to just be patient, hit level 6, and you would want to tie this in with level 6 on Sweet and Strong. Mystic Flare plus Dragon Tail Stun is a pretty easy kill to line up, but it takes a while for the Sky to hit that point.
It certainly does, Jonathan. It certainly does. Still no First Blood being drawn out yet from either side. You know, I feel like top lane is where we should see First Blood happening, but hasn't happened quite yet. The team's just kind of sitting back and trying to secure their own farm here in these lanes. Top of the CS board right now is going to be no one on that Void Spirit. Is having a very good time in that mid lane against the puck, and it does really just go back to the hero matchup as the Void Spirit. You are just going to have that inherent advantage with the higher base damage, and see the physical right clicks against Ori on that puck. Kind of hard for Ori to time these CS against the Void Spirit. I mean, he's just got such a great attack animation as well on the Void, and it's just very challenging to try and really get the advantage in the CS war.
It's a pretty slow start for Ori. No one's going to hit 6 a lot earlier, and that timing's going to be big, especially if they find an angle here for Na'Vi to get the supports going onto the mid to commit onto that puck, or just have the Void Spirit walk away with a side lane rotation. It's going to be that start of the early momentum that Na'Vi wants to get out, and as we've seen them do before, they do like to play aggressive on Na'Vi. They've got the lineup to sustain it. Once those level 6s start popping off in a couple of heroes, Mike, maybe that's the point where we start to see that aggression flow.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like that tightly wound up spring, right? We're just kind of casually waiting to see when it is going to just pop, and the team's not going for it yet. The longer they wait, though, the more chaos comes in later on, I'm sure, as a bot lane lays. Try and get aggressive here onto Monet. Does land the stun. The Sweet and Strong will follow up now with the silence, but they are lacking the damage. Monet going to be just fine. Certainly starting to pressure a little bit here onto this Faceless Void, but ultimately Monet, like he was always confident he was going to survive through it anyway. Not too afraid, and naturally with his Warlock there, he's always just going to be able to heal up. There's no real threat for him.
The damage is starting to ramp up from the side of Navito. Just 1 point in the Ancient Seal does provide a lot of output onto Monet. But still enough time for him to kind of respond and back off. The farm buildup is still there. Fairly even across the board. You're pretty happy for both sides. If you're Navi, you're a little bit happier. But it's not overwhelming enough that they're just going to be able to snowball, hit those early level 6s. They need to be a little bit more patient. And for Aster, that's breathing room. Monet can just kind of relax, power treads up, going for the Maelstrom next. They haven't really been able to stack up for that Void though, so not the most amazing amount of catch-up form for the Void down the line, but as long as they're not getting ganked, you're happy. Although, Ori.
Yeah, no one. Getting a little bit aggressive here. In fact, with the Ancient Seal out, Ori, he's in big danger now, but barely surviving as no one. He doesn't have any more step charges. But there is going to be a bit of a flare flying out as Ori's still trying to juke them out on the puck. Will somehow make it. Unfortunate there for Na'Vi. They hesitated just a little bit as the Aether Remnant connected, and that may have cost them that kill. Nevertheless, Ori, very nice jukes out as top lane now. XXS in danger though, solo. Getting hit by the tower, but doesn't mind. He'll move right back in and secure first blood for his team.
Finally comes out in a different lane. Vitrine sees the opportunity to just static link without the Tiny around, and gets the backup that he needs to just secure that kill. Does go the way of solo. Not the biggest deal in the world, giving that first blood bonus to the clock. Faster boots,
Hey!
slightly faster. 6 is pretty nice.
It's a great deal, John. Leave the pause 5 clocks alone. It's a great deal for him.
Yeah, but you know how pause 1 started. Like, I want that bonus gold. I want to build into my Falcon blade. It was so close. If it just had that money, I'd have it outright. I'm the carry. You're just a clockwork. You're gonna die anyway. And all in all, in our pubs, that's how it goes, Mike.
That's when you tell them to go quit, John. Yeah, they tend to shut up real quick after that, let me tell you. Solo does have those brown boots up now. Could just try and get aggressive onto Baboka, but you've always got the toss back potential, so Baboka, not really too afraid whatsoever. Does seem like Aster do want to play around the slow game till you hit the mid game anyway. Seems like they're more than happy to just keep the slow pace of the game going, and well, for Na'Vi, it's really suiting them anyway. Because in terms of CS and net worth, they are having a really darn good time. Only concern being maybe Monet is farming a little bit too safely on the Void right now. That could be a slight concern for Na'Vi a bit later on, but for now, Na'Vi, they are doing a fantastic job. Net worth is their way. There's just no need to rush this. The Dream Coil, mid lane, going to catch onto the Void Spirit, but Monet going to get silenced up. Still, they do have Chrono if they want to throw it out, but no one is going to be just fine. He'll walk away from that. Coil really does nothing in that situation, and I suppose luckily Sweet and Strong was there to make sure they could not go for the Chrono follow-up.
And seeing that commitment out, Navi are going for his smoke play. Still no level 6 out in Sweet and Strong, but level 7 up and no one. Might find a juicy target here.
A scan though. Monet, I believe that was him scanning out for that, and a very, very nice scan, catching the smoke of Na'Vi. Great map reading here from our POS 1 Void. This smoke should just inherently lead to nothing. Maybe they can head back into the mid lane, but nobody's there to really gank up. So Na'Vi, they're going to miss out here. And I suppose just a little bit too obvious of a smoke attempt here from Na'Vi. I dare say it is much just better map reading here from Aster.
Get a good read. I believe that might have potentially been under the obs by the Riverside. So not managing to really get the best use of that. And look at Aster immediately clumping up top, going for a tier 1 tower trade. Mid is a bit of a bigger target for Na'Vi, but they don't have the DK around here with Dragon Form, so it's not the quickest push coming out from them. And Aster should still be happy enough just having success with Familiars work that top for them.
You see Lace down at the bot lane as well, getting that slow push going, but they are just trying to trade these tier 1 towers now. And for Na'Vi, they're not going to be around to defend the top lane. And Aster, they do have a chance if they really want to go back down bot and just slow down the push coming in from Na'Vi. It's only Lace in that Dragon Form hitting the tier 1 tower right now, so they've certainly got an opportunity. So there is going to be a scan out. They have scanned out the Warlock. They'll go deeper into the tree line and just try to hide. And in fact, he's going to make it out. Quick TP away. They won't find him. With that though, Na'Vi still happy to go back after that bottom tier 1 tower, and well, Aster, they just don't seem interested in defending. They're just happy to let this one go.
They've already got the trade up top, and they're feeling pretty good with the space they've managed to buy out here for Monet. He's working that top jungle well. They know a lot of viewers were down bot, although
they coordinate the Remnant there onto the Tiny, but just leads to nothing. And Na'Vi kind of hesitant to make the jumps in, and It is because you've got so much turn potential here with Aster's draft. You don't want to allow them to have that opening. You've got to be very careful with your positioning here as Na'Vi. As Solo, speaking of positioning, is going to get tossed back by Baboka, eventually chased down by XXS. Solo should really have no way out of this one, surely, as the Soul Assumption does fly through, and well, eventually he is going to drop. Baboka will be the one to take the kill on the Tiny, and that's a fair kill secure to have from the Tiny as well, John. Naturally going to help him escalate towards that Blink Dagger.
Yeah, Na'Vi just
Mid
not
lane.
quite finding the openings, although.
I've got the puck, but again, the follow-up's just not there. Sweden Strong, he ran out of mana with the Mystic Flare, so couldn't even think about dropping it.
Yeah, they need that combination up. Just having Remnant Flare with the Ancient Seal is going to be massive. DK stun down the line once the Blink's up and running on Lace. That's your play. And just going to have to maybe get a little bit of a reset, top up a little bit. Aster seeing that move out, though, start to smoke up themselves. No one from Na'Vi up top. They don't really have the best forward vision, only that laning ward on hand, but maybe an opportunity to plant some forward wards here in the jungle.
Seems like that's what all this smoking is about here from Baboka. As Avalanche is actually going to land onto V-Tune. A toss back as well, barely catching the Razor, but do they have the follow-up damage? Silence is there, onto no one, and well, they just blow up Ori. No messing around from Na'Vi, just very fast rotations as Baboka. It'll be the second to fall here. Aster is kind of overextending, but Na'Vi with some very fast rotations.
Dire's courier
Yeah.
has been
Again, they've got the 6s up, so they can just keep playing. They don't even have the hook shot up yet, but it's not necessary coming out from Solo. DD Rune is spotted out. XXS should be able to can't deny it off. But this is the moment where Na'Vi starts to really line up the aggression. You've got enough gold in Sweden Strong to outright buy his Mana Boots as well, so he's going to be ready to just top the entire team up. You are still working towards the Yules here for no one, but it doesn't feel completely necessary to have that. As long as you've got multiple heroes around you, you can jump around. You might just wait for Lace's Blink here, Mike. He's only about 100 gold away, and that's going to be big.
We'll have a look at the replay of that last team fight as well, Jonathan, while we have a chance. And as you saw, it was a nice setup here onto V-Tune, but look at how fast Na'Vi rotate. Solo TPs to the outpost. No one had a haste room, which is very unlucky for Aster. And with that, like, once the Void Spirit shows up, especially with the Ancient Seal landing on Ori to begin the fight, it's just too hard to turn that one around. And, well, Aster, again, a more conservative team. So they're not going to take a team fight, even if it does cost them a couple heroes. If they're not happy with the way they're positioned, they are just naturally going to back off and allow the couple heroes to just get taken down. And speaking of, they found the Warlock now, so Na'Vi finding another kill for themselves, and that'll be the fourth of the game for them. Still happy days for this Dire side. There's no pressure being placed on Na'Vi whatsoever.
Yeah, they're just allowed to kind of hit this mid-game stride, build up a small but notable enough lead, and now with a Blink up on Lace, just this smoke out with Sweden Strong. It's all you need. Blink forward, Dragon Tail, Ancient Seal, Mystic Flare, they're dead. All they need to do is find that right target, and they know where Monet's farming here, Mike.
Oh, Monet, he's in that classic spot, John. That classic farming spot for Pos 1 where they always get caught out, but he does back off at the right moment.
Dire are scanning.
At least for now, we'll see how Lace tries to blink in blind and get a Dragon Tail stun off, but Monet, quick TP. Yeah, he's gonna make it, he's just fine. Meanwhile, mid lane, Solo, in a little bit of danger, but had the cogs pushed back and is gonna be fine to just zone them out. I believe it was actually no one that was in trouble there on the Void Spirit, but he's also gonna be just fine. So Aster, unable to kind of capitalize on that smoke rotation from Na'Vi. And Na'Vi, well, they're unable to capitalize either on that smoke, so nothing really happening. They'll smoke again. And they do have this great Blink Dagger timing on Lace, so they certainly want to get a bit of a surprise reveal here for Na'Vi. Who do they find, though? Oh, that's great positioning from the Warlock. Look at this, John. Ready to break the smoke. He's going to move at that last moment, but he is kind of matching where Monet is going to just block all the angles, and that's very good positioning. He'll break the smoke and tank the gank surely as Monet now. We'll see V-Tune. Hookshot is there from Solo, and it's just the Warlock. They don't even find him yet. He's fine. Baboka, he'll make the jump in with the toss out, and Solo is going to end up dropping. And again, for Aster's sake, John, that's great place from their Pos 5. Perfect positioning to tank the game.
Yeah, Pietro is just very aware of what Na'Vi wants to do. Aster's team is very aware of what Na'Vi wants to do. They want to keep pumping up, they want to keep smoking, they need to play with this great tempo they have with these early timings, but every single kill they don't find is just trading away so much gold that Aster can just farm up in the Void for free. Like Monet is still a bit behind, especially in comparison to Butune, but
One, he's got the Yule Scepter up. The Ancient Remnant is going to land, but do they have the damage output? Ori, no, he can't get out of this one. Nothing like a blink up on his own puck, so Na'Vi with a very, very valuable rotation from no one, setting up onto that mid puck, and Aster once again, John, still on the back foot here against Na'Vi as towards the north, Lace, hook shot is there onto Baboka. That'll be another support going down here for Aster.
starts to open up a little bit more. They're making Aster sort of split up. They're trying to play a little bit greedier, split pushing with the puck. And once that split up is detected, Na'Vi can just plump up just 2 heroes. It's enough to find the kills. And, well, 2-6 start, looking good for Na'Vi. So far, 3K lead at 16 minutes in. Aster, they still have to stall this game out. You haven't seen any chrono commitment from Monet. He is working towards the BKB. They catch Solo out.
They have. Solo was the one trying to get the fight started, actually, John, but against the Visage, you really can't do too much. And in the meantime, Bichu ends up going down towards the south as Monet does end up committing chrono along with Ori's Dream Coil, I believe, and well, they do secure a very valuable kill here against Na'Vi. In fact, they're not done yet. Smoke out here with Baboka and Ori. We'll see if they can find another, and they may dust. Sweet and strong. Tumblr's Toy will be there to save the day, just barely. He's going to be all right. But now Aster, they're looking towards that mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah, they need to get a little push going of their own.
Oh, it's declared with the Dragon Tail combination. Being very quick with Baboka, and now the jump in from no one into the hook shot of Solo. They'll find another. In fact, they even found Ori on the puck, but can they lock him down? It doesn't seem like it. He'll be fine. Just going his way out.
Is under attack.
Still 2 kills to go the way of Na'Vi, and they do put a halt to the push that was incoming onto that tier 1 mid.
Yeah, again, they've got so much mobility just with that blink on hand. From Lace, the output is still there. You don't have any early BKBs up and running yet on Aster. Not even Glimmer Capes to save.
Nice.
They're very susceptible to that, although
Aggressive positioning from our DK. He's a very tanky boy, but not that tanky, I don't think, as XXS. Never mind, they can't get the kill yet as Vichun will make his way over. Trying to zone them out, but now he's in danger. The golden drop is there, the fatal bond is out, but they haven't got the follow-up. Vichun's still fine. He'll try to go on to Solo, but it's a great cog block to Ori. Gonna make the jump in, but no one. He'll be there to follow up and try to help out as Ori. He'll just keep going. Solo, he will eventually go down, and now Baboka looking for Nobon. But won't be able to catch him. The Yule Scepter is there defensively from the Void Spirit, and that'll be enough to zone out Baboka. To Aster, they do get away with the kill, and with that they'll find a double damage rune. Ori move in. Avalanche is there. Silence does connect onto the Void Spirit. No one is dropping low. We'll be able to simulate trying to get out with the Resonant Pulse. We just fine. Scary, scary times though for Na'Vi. It does seem like Aster is starting to warm up.
yeah, they're hitting their stride. They're starting to get some early items up. XXS more than comfy to show up with a Wraith Pack plus the Hood of Defiance being up. Much more durable on the front line as that Visage. They're inching closer towards that blink time here for Baboka. I think that's going to be the big one that enables them to play aggressive, along with Ori's blink on that puck. Once you do have that, you can start to make plays while still giving your Faceless Void a million space to farm. He's not going to need to join in with those blink plays. Na'Vi though, I don't think they can allow that much downtime. Like, they lost that last few engagement, sure, but they can still go.
They've got someone. Could be the +5 Warlock to go down here, or is it? He's still healing up.
Oh no.
Oh, he's going to survive through it. Just barely. Level 2 Shadow Word will get it done, and oh, that's going to be unfortunate for the Clockwork. I believe it was actually the Familiars kind of taking some of that battery assault damage away.
Yeah, it's rough. And I do appreciate that Na'Vi is playing with some of their long-range jump, but it feels like we need to see more of the Sky +1. Sky plus DK or Sky plus Void Spirit is probably your best bet. Just play with that Mystic Flare every single time. The hook shot's nice, but diving that deep doesn't necessarily guarantee you a kill. That angle is pretty awkward into the mid-tier 1 there as well. And Aster, they're going to be very happy. They're still clumped up, mainly as a unit. You can see them just backing up Monet every single time. They know that Na'Vi's going to be looking for that Faceless Void, looking to make that jump in. They just stay together. They're not allowing Na'Vi to play this pick-off game at all.
Absolutely not. Na'Vi, they are still huddled up. They're still trying to find a target to go after. Baboka mid lane is being pinged out as the hook shot is going to be there, solo. A nice setup into the Mystic Flare, and that should be enough. That'll be one. This is kind of the problem, John. That's a +4 tiny you're taking down, and you aren't delaying the blink. You kind of watch the commitment for that kill. It does kind of concern you, because how are you going to get that done in the middle of a big team fight? They'll make the jump in again, this time around finds the void. Do they have the follow-up damage with the Ancient Seal? Perhaps they do, and in fact they do. Na'Vi, aggressive and paying off. Never mind what I said, John. They've got the control.
We managed to chop down Monet, just getting a little bit greedy, farming that triangle while the rest of Na'Vi was on that low ground, hunting nearby on the tier 1, not respecting that mobility coming out from Na'Vi. And it does put Na'Vi back in the driver's seat. 60-11, 3k lead still palpable here for Na'Vi as they jump for more, but not going to have a range although.
You know what? We'll go for it. Wait, what?
Huh?
What about Aether and Connector? The Dream Coil is there, onto the Dragon Knight. Avalanche is out as well, so they've got the control here for Lace, and eventually they should have the kill. We're gonna need a replay of that. I did not catch what the Aether got caught on there. Was it a creep? It didn't feel like the angle was there to hit the creeps.
I have no clue. It looked like it connected onto Ori, and then it just didn't do anything.
Let's have a look at that one more time.
Yeah,
We've got
have
a
a
replay,
look.
John. Here we go.
There you go.
Oh!
What?
They barely made it in range, John.
That's so awkward. That is so awkward. But you know what? Aster is not going to be... And they're not going to mind that. They get a freebie off the back. You know, they kill that DK, punish him for following through. And it's still not too bad for Na'Vi. Right, it's 70-11, 3k lead. But you start to ask yourself as we ramp up in time, 22 minutes in, you know, once you hit 25, once you hit 30 minutes in, do you still have enough to deal with that phase of Void? Because the BKB is coming out either way now. You're going to have to deal with a Spell Immune Void. And that just takes away that power of the Ancient Seal to instantly burst him. So you're going to have to rely on Static Link, running down with your Razor. Are you really comfy enough to have your Razor that far up in the front line? Potentially in range of a Chronosphere? It doesn't sound like... It doesn't feel like they have enough backup for the Razor to just stand in front there. And with the itemization we see here on V-Tune, he's not the most durable Razor yet. He went for the Maelstrom with a Falcon Blade along with Power Treads into the BKB. So no refresh for Presence, no early plate mail for more armor. Satanic is going to come next, but it's still a long ways off until you get that durability up here, Mike.
I mean, shout out to V-Tune for the item build up, though, John. This is actually the item build I went for when I first started playing Razor. Back in the Dota All-Stars days. Yeah, well, you know, it made sense, John. You know,
wait.
Hero.
You used Maelstrom, not Sanj and Yasha, like everyone else?
No, it was my first time, John. It was my first time.
All right.
It made sense. Lightning and lightning, you know? Might sound stupid now, John, but, you know, as a ex-Pokemon master, it all made sense to me back in the day when I was a kid. It's Lace. Go for a run. We just fine to get out of range of XXS. They're slow to come out, but Na'Vi, they still want to go for the fight, it seems. Just find a way in. See the Visage. One does pop the double damage rune, so he's ready to go. Aster, they're not going to give the opening. They'll hold the high ground of that triangle and just not allow Na'Vi the opening they want to initiate. Na'Vi, they are still sticking around, but XXS certainly baiting here on the Visage, and Na'Vi, they are not taking that bait.
Yeah, they're just playing it safe and getting what they can. And they did have to expend their double damage rune, so no one's not going to have that for the next fight. And Aster wants to smoke up now.
No. It's not again. Plenty of team fight spells to throw out. Sweet and Strong in position to break the smoke and will do so. Ancient Seal out for Provoker. He does blink away. Just in the nick of time is now the coil. He's going to catch cool. They've got Sweet and Strong down to start with, and they've even caught out Lacey on the Dragon Knight. Plenty of stunts to fly out as well. Provoker tossing him back. They'll secure the kill. This little play there from Aster, knowing exactly where they were situated on the side of Na'Vi, and they punish very, very effectively.
Yeah, they just get a good angle to jump in. Baboka kind of misses the mark with a blink, but kind of dodges out the Ancient Seal follow-up quite nicely. And that's room for them to go into Roshan. They have that fresh BKB up and running on Monet. He's going for Linken's as well, just going all in on the defense. Doesn't want to get caught off guard. with that Ancient Seal or even just a Static Link. And Na'Vi, they still have angles to play with here. They do know Roche is happening.
Make the fight though. Haven't got their Dragon Knight for another 10, but they should have the time. In fact, Bijou does get caught out. The Poppers BKB immediately onto XXS he goes. Trying for the Vision, but the Snowform is there, and now the Chrono. Monet right in, no one. He's going to try and help out. The hookshot is there, but the Golem drop is perfect. Onto the Razor, Bijou's gone. Onto the Clockwork. Or even find Solo. At least no one. He does manage to pick off Ori in the middle of all this chaos, but it's not a great trade at all for Na'Vi. They continue to run, but XXS continues to chase. Slam the stun, onto the Void Spirit, and now Baboka. She missed the Avalanche, but it won't matter too much. Not quite yet, though, no one. Still fighting. In comes Monet. Back onto Lace. Baboka, somehow still alive. Is going to make it out as Lace. Not so lucky himself in the Dragon Knight. Should go down and does do so. XXS able to secure the kill on Aster. It's a very clean team fight. Only losing Ori on that mid-tough, but trading off those 3 heroes for that, you've got to be happy if you ask them.
FNBR opens up the Roshan in a huge way. That last fight, pretty topsy-turvy. Great upheaval coming out from Picho, of course, you know, holding back Bijun from retreating, holding back Clockwork from getting an angle away. Now, upheaval, man, it's a great skill.
John, Solo, he's going to try, but the angle was just way off. He kind of wanted to be the smart guy, right? The 200 IQ play and go from the obvious angle, which is from the south of the Roshan pit, but yeah, it's just way too hard to land the hook into the Aegis that way as Ori. Mid lane in a bit of danger, but here comes Baboka to try and help out as the Void Spirit now going to break the coil thanks to the toss back of the Tiny. Oh, the tips come out as well. They rub the salt into the wound of no one. How rude of Aster.
Yeah, I like what Pietro is doing though. You know, he's just tipping Baboka. It's like, hey, you played well. And he's just tipping his own teammates, keeping that PMA here, Mike. But we're at that point that we were asking about earlier. We're approaching 30 minutes. You've got the BKB on Monet. The Void Chrono is a massive threat. You don't have any counterplay for that. It doesn't feel like Na'Vi has enough in their lineup to deal with this. With all the spell immunity, with great teamfight control, the combinations Aster has on hand, you still have really strong pickoff game from Na'Vi, but they've not been able to use that for almost 10 to 15 minutes now. It just hasn't felt like they've gotten the kills they wanted with that PK Blink and with the Mystic Slayer Ancient Seal combination. It's just not getting them the kills they need. They haven't touched Monet in a long time, and I don't know if you can touch him going forward now.
E2 Tower is going to drop, and I do kind of agree with your points there, John. It does feel very challenging now against Monet. Na'Vi, they're not out of this game yet, but they have lost the net worth lead, only 2k the way of Aster. But more importantly, you look at the Dota Plus win probability right now, John, and it's not looking too healthy for them. Na'Vi sitting at roughly 18%. I'd certainly agree with that, considering the draft they have. Like, you're playing against the Void late game, you have a Razor, it just doesn't match up very well.
It can line up if they play really well in the back line. They have to jump supports really fast, take care of the Warlock first, take care of Pietro somehow, remove the Golems from the equation, chain stun onto Monet afterwards, but I mean, he's got Lincoln's BKB here, Mike. He's all in on defense. He knows as long as he's alive, they won't have damage to deal with him, and I know how Na'Vi kind of repair that. Maybe going for, I don't know, the E-Blade build-up, no one feels like a good launching point, but even that's just, against BKB, it's just not enough.
They found Ori. It'll be a great pick off to get, but they might lose Lace in the process. The BKB is there on the Dragon Knight, and in fact, he's going to be just fine. So here comes the rest of Aster to try and force this fight as Na'Vi try to back off. Monet make an aggressive jump in, but this could be dangerous. So he's feeling confident with his own BKB to go for the fight, but he time was right back out, rewinding right back in. Baboka, he's there with the Avalanche toss combination. Blaze gone. A 1-for-1 so far. And make that a 1-for-2 because they did lose the Warlock. No one. He's another jump in on this for now a big Chrono. Monet, he found 2 targets. But where's the follow-off damage? They've got the Skyrim mage now on the beach and they go, but XXS, he's in trouble now in the Visage. We're going to that Stone Form, but now Monet, falling rather low, does go down with the Aegis' Bijou. He'll just keep the fight going. On to XXS, the Visage, still trying to run. Monet trying to help him out because they found Bijou on the Razor. He'll go for a run, but surely doesn't make it out. He's still trying though, but the bashes are coming in from Monet. On the Solo, they go, they want the clockwork to boot. Heck, never mind him, they've got a dream coil onto no one. The Void Spirit is going to drop as Aster was able to sustain constantly throughout the team fight. And Solo, I mean, he's still trying to run, but Monet, he sniffed him out.
Bash.
Solo, oh, they're not going to make it. At least the clockwork does make it out, but Aster, still a great team fight. And this game just continues to get more challenging for the side of Na'Vi.
Yeah, and they find out the hard way that Monet does have that link up. He doesn't care. He has so many defensive items up. He does have very low damage output. We saw that Chrono kill on the sky took a lot longer. Chasing down Lace though, but does manage to blink out. But for Na'Vi, you can't even static link the Razor to zap away his damage. He just time walks back to Boboka.
Oh, they found Solo this time around, blocking. He's certainly going to drop. Pick off there for Aster. It doesn't feel like they're quite ready to go high ground yet, Aster. They might just wait for the next Roshan, which we kind of talk about this all the time. There's just no need to rush high ground, even when you are this far ahead. As Aster just continues controlling the map, they'll be happy, and well, they're very confident going into the later stages of the game, knowing that they have the arguably superior late game draft. So for Na'Vi, they are certainly not out of this game yet. Plenty of time for them to try and catch their way up and keep up here with Aster, but again, based off these drafts, it could be a real challenge.
Yeah, it's tougher and tougher to get their game plan going. Their team fight is kind of lackluster. It's only really single torque and controlled still. They will go for a smoke play. They need to catch a big hero off guard. If they can pile on all their control onto, say, Monet, they might have enough to kill him off. It doesn't feel like killing off Ori is enough, because the puck, it kind of does its job if it does get committed on.
A great scan here, Aster. They know exactly where they are with the hook shot. Solo's going to try to initiate the fight as Ori. He's been caught out. The puck in big trouble. Already going down to Na'Vi. They're also a great start, but a big golem drop into the fatal bonds now. This could be the turnaround as Monet makes the jump in, but doesn't go for the chrono quite yet. He'll hold down and wait out for the right moment as XXS. He'll keep moving forward, but Na'Vi, they will split up. Monet still threatening with that chrono, but not deciding to throw it. Never mind Bijun, he gets caught, and now the chrono! Oh, they've caught Bijun and no one, both together! No one, he jumped right into it. He'll try to run now, but Monet, right on his tail. So the actual step and TP up is going to be just fine. Monet will not be able to get the bashes off. Full Solo on the run. Monet knows he's around somewhere. The TP attempt from Boboka is in with the avalanche combination, and that'll be enough for him. It's still a successful team fight once again for Aster. You find the puck every single team fight, but the problem is you're kind of forgetting about Monet.
It's not even just Monet either. It's like Pietro standing at the back with a Warlock, getting a good chaotic offering to force back the further chase Na'Vi wants to keep up. You know, they line up for the Chronos. Boboka manages to find the angle to get a good toss back, and no one's forced to come in to try to salvage that situation. And the patience of Monet pays off. Like, Aster's just playing really great decision-making Dota. Right? Like, they understand what they want to do. They understand how to use that puck depth to their advantage and force Na'Vi to overcommit after that kill. Because, again, this lineup of Na'Vi needs to keep going. They can't afford to slow down on the breaks. They have to play for the pickoff game, and then they feel like they have to commit further and try to play that 4v5 where even if you lose the puck, you don't lose that much team fight because you still have the golem drop, you still have the Chronos we've seen, you still have Boboka with Avalanche, even the Visage with the Familiars and with how durable XXS is a massive issue. So for Na'Vi, they might have to shift targets here, Mike, or they might have to just take the pick off and immediately back off, rinse and repeat, keep trying to get at least one kill and kind of equalize from there, I suppose.
It's a tough match, though. It's for Na'Vi. They are still in it, but around 11% win probability here for Na'Vi. And Aster again, John, they know how patient they can be. Waiting for that next Roshan, and we'll be up in about 50 seconds. Problem for Na'Vi, though, Monet's going to have Chrono up in about 10 seconds. So you're going to have all these ultis ready to go for this next Roshan fight. Even the Golem up in 13. Na'Vi, they don't have long cooldowns, but just got to try and find a way to win these fights. are still hanging around, but Aster, they are approaching slowly. The high ground of that dire jungle. What's being placed down preemptively as the Roshan is about to spawn up in 20. Look up from Na'Vi. They do seem to know where Aster are, so they could go for the wraparound and try to sneak up behind them. What they're going to try and do here, Na'Vi. The Radiant Triangle high ground instead, and in fact, they're going to hold this position instead, which is fair enough as well. The switching places here between the two teams. Aster, they revealed themselves by taking the outpost, so Na'Vi, they set up a team fight underneath their own vision. Aster, they're not going for that. They're going straight up to the top lane, and they're going to force a defense from Na'Vi. So Na'Vi, do you want Roshan? Do you want the defense? Well, they're going to try for Roshan first. Aster, are they committed to this push? 'Cause if they're not, they're going to make their way back to Roshan pit ASAP. It's a big deal to lose this Roshan. If you are Aster right now, Na'Vi, they are going to be spotted in the pit. Aster, they will make it in time to defend. They have the low ground. It's a bit of an awkward position for them. The vision also being taken out here by XXS, so no one is going to try and make the jump in. Well, he does have that information, but they don't have the damage to burst down the Visage. XXS just fine. The Avalanche is there onto Sweden's wrong, and now Ori going to make the jump in. Panay getting tossed out of there. He was having a perfect chrono opportunity, but now the golem drop is perfect on the 4 heroes. Where are they going? Down to Na'Vi already. Trying to get that Ori, but what a chrono out from Panay. On the 3 heroes. A great hookshot, but it's not going to matter. Oh, they get wiped. GG. I'll be frank, John, if I got chronoed like that, I'd call GG as well. It's not fun.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Definitely not. Aster, he plays such a disciplined game. Na'Vi, we saw them play aggressive when they hit their spike. The timing of this lineup from Na'Vi, it was level 6 on the supports. It was that blink timing coming out from Laze, and it came out pretty on point. It's just that they weren't finding the targets they needed to find. The momentum they were building up just slowed down. They only maintained, what, the 2-3K lead at most. They didn't manage to snowball off the back